So in our previous class, we have seen how to use static keyword, and also we have understood what is system.out.println, and also we have understood about main method. So what is public static void main? Okay. So main is also just like a method. How we create a normal methods in the class. So normally the class is also contains a main method. So JVM is always look for the main method. So wherever in whichever class is having main method, and JVM will look for that particular method and it will execute our class. And just like other methods, main method also will take parameters, and the main method won't return any value because it is a void and it is a static method. Okay, so in the last class, somebody asked how can we pass parameters to the main method. Okay, so we'll see that, and after that we'll start inheritance. How to pass parameters into the main method. How to pass parameters to main method. Okay, because the main method will run at the runtime, right? Once you executed your program, and JVM will start execution from the main method. So if you want to pass parameters to the main method, only at the runtime it is possible. If it is a normal method, we will create an object, and through the object we can pass, we will just call that method and we'll pass the parameters, right? If it is a normal method. But main method is not like that. Main method will invoke at the runtime. So we have to pass parameters. So let me show you a simple example. How can we take parameters to main method? It's not much important, but just for your understanding, just showing one example, you can just take a look at here. Let me create a new package for today, and today is day 14. Take finish. Okay. Now inside this, I'm creating a new class. Okay, I'm just saying passing parameters or params to main method. And I'm taking main method also. Let's say finish. Just like other method, main is also one of the method in the class, but main is a special type of a method in Java. Okay, this is the main method. So normally when you write something here, I'm just say system.out.println. I'm just writing simple message. Right. So this is how we can simply write one main method. And when you run this, run as a Java application. So the main method will be called, and the statements which are present inside the main method will be executed. Okay, this we already know. So now what I will do is, here, this is a parameter. So whenever you receive a parameter into method, we can use those parameters. These are the local, right? This is a string array. This is basically string type of an array. So not what I will do is inside this method, I will try to use these parameters. Later, I will pass this. Okay. So what I will do is in this is basically an array. Args is a string type of an array. Means what? The arg is a variable which contains a multiple strings. How it will internally create the array. This is string array, as I said, right? String array means what? This is an array. And this is an array, and which contains multiple parts. We don't know how many locations are there because we are just passing only array. Let's say this is one string, 0, 1, 2, 3, index will start from 0. So these are the different strings. So let's say hello and welcome, Java, Selenium. We can store multiple strings. So this is an array, single dimension array of a string type. Args is just a array name. Args is just an array name. You can put any name. You can put XCA, whatever you want. Okay. Args is just an array name. Now, what I will do is I can change this name also. If you are confusing, you can put this A also like this, or you can put like this also, A, single dimensional array. That is also correct. All these syntaxes are correct. Okay. Or else you can say string, args, and bracket. This is also correct. So now we will receive an array which contains a number of strings. Now inside this main method, I will try to use those arguments. Okay. For example, I want to find number of parameter or number of values in this array. How to find number of values or number of elements in array? If it is a single dimension array, how to find number of values in array? Yes, length is a keyword which we can use to find length of an array. Now, once you receive this string array, how can we find the length of this array? How many parameters are there? How many values we have in this array? Args dot length. So this will give you how many parameters. So let me just try to print this. Args dot length. Okay. Now, if I execute this method, observe very carefully. So I'm just executing this method just like a normal run as Java application. 0. You are not get anything. Why? Because still we have not passed any parameters to the main method. We are not passing any parameters to the main method. So by default, args doesn't have any data. So args.length is returning 0. Args.length is returning 0. Now, whenever you pass this array, then only it will find number of values, right? So how to pass parameters to this main method? If you want to pass main parameters to the main method through Eclipse, what we can do is normally through command line we can pass, but here we are using Eclipse as an editor. So how to pass it is, you can simply say in run as, you can see run as Java application, right? Instead of run as Java application, just choose this option, run configurations. Okay, instead of directly run Java application, if you run Java application, you won't get 0 because we are not passed with this parameter. So if you want to use this option, run configurations. In the run configurations, you can see one tab here called arguments. Here you can see arguments tag. Okay. Here you have to pass parameters. So I'm passing multiple strings here. Okay. Just look at this. Welcome is one string. Space 2, another string. Space Java, another string. Space Selenium. So how many strings I have passed? After space, it is considering another string. Okay. Totally 4 strings I have passed. Welcome to Java, Selenium, 4 strings. So once you specified the multiple strings here, just simply say run. Now observe. It is saying 4. How many strings we have passed? 4 strings we have passed. So it is giving 4. Now, just I want to print those strings, for example, not only length, I want to print those strings, whatever data we have provided at the runtime, I want to print them. So what we can do is, you can let me write one simple for loop. For, and I'm just trying to write an enhanced for loop. So from the args array, I'm going to take value, string value 1 by 1. All are strings, okay? And then I'm just printing the value. Okay, from this args array, I'm reading each individual string value into this variable, and then I'm just trying to print this by using enhanced for loop. Okay, now when I run configurations, so again go to arguments, and you can change this value. So this time I'm passing something else. Hello world. Okay, now I'm just passing only 2 parameters. Hello world. Just execute, run. See here, you can see number of arguments are 2, so number of values in array is 2, that means length of array is 2, and these are the 2 parameters which we passed. So the main method is receiving those parameters here, and again we are finding length of an array, and also we are able to read the data from this array. And you can also perform different operations on these particular values which are read from this array. Okay, so this is the way we can pass parameters into main method in Eclipse. Okay, so don't directly run it, just run as a run configurations. Here you can pass the parameters, and these parameters are fixed until unless you change these parameters still available. Okay, if you again run the program just like a normal Java program, observe this normal Java program, you can see you still get the output. Because what we have already set parameters in the run configurations. So once you have seen this, run as a run configurations, you can see parameters fixed here. Until unless you change this, still these parameters are available. Okay, so that is the reason even after passing these parameters, you can close this and now we can just run as a normal Java application. You will see those parameter values. A main method is taking the parameters. And if you want to change, again, go to run configurations, and here go to arguments, and here you can change. You can say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2 parameters. Now it will also take as a string. Okay, you can just directly click on run button, or you can simply say apply and close. Now we can just run as a normal Java application. See, now you will get it strings 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 also in the format of strings it is taken. So this is how we can pass parameters. You can just go run as run configurations, arguments, and here welcome to Java. Like this, you can pass parameters. You can directly run from here, or else you can say apply and close. Now we can run as a normal Java application like this. Okay. So this is how we can pass parameters into main method. This is not important, okay, which we are not going to pass anything in the main method, but just for your information, I'm just showing this. Understood, everyone, how to pass parameters to the main method. So main is also just like a normal method, which will take parameters and we receive the parameters and we can perform the operations. Okay. Yes. Now, let us move on to the next concept, most important, inheritance. Inheritance is one of the object-oriented programming concept. So far, what are the concepts we have seen so far in object-oriented programming? So far, what we have covered: class, object, polymorphism, encapsulation, right? So these are the 4 topics so far we covered. Now, this is inheritance. So let us see what is inheritance and what is the main advantage of inheritance and what are the different types of inheritances and how to implement. So inheritance is nothing but acquiring all the properties and behavior from one class to another class is called inheritance. As per the definition, Java definition, inheritance is nothing but acquiring all the properties and behavior from one class to another class. Properties means variables. Behavior means methods. So normally what class contains? Class contains variables and methods. So whatever variables and methods we created in one class, we can get them into another class automatically. Or one class can acquire another class variables and behavior, which is called inheritance. Okay. For example, let me take this. Okay. So for example, let's say I have one class. So this is one class. And let's say developer 1 is created class A, and he's created some variables and he's created some methods in the class. Okay. Now there is another developer. He's implemented another class called as a B. And the B class is also having some variable. B class is also having some different methods. And now A and B classes are totally different. So whatever variables methods created in the A class are different than B class. Is created by developer 1. This is created by developer 2. Okay. Now, while implementing the class B, let's say I want to I need same number of variables, same methods, which are already created in another class called A. Suppose whatever variables and methods are created in A class, while creating the B class, we want to again a need of creating same variables, same methods in the class B again. In that particular case, what will happen is, instead of creating same variables, same methods again one more time in B, we can simply get all of them into B class. Okay, we can extend everything from A to B. So this is called acquiring process. So acquiring all the variables and methods from one class to another class is called inheritance. And by using extends keyword, we can get like this. So whatever the variables and methods are there in the A class which will extend into B class. In such case, A is called parent class, B is called child class, and it is also called as base class, also called as super class, and which is called child class, or which is also called subclass, or which is also called derived class. And different names are there. We can call them as a parent and child classes, or we can call them as a base class and subclass, or we can call them as a super class and derived class. So different names are there. So most of the times we use this terminology, parent and child class. Okay, so whatever the variables and methods we created in one class, we can acquire into another class. And in that particular case, A is called as a parent class, whichever class is extending the parent class, which is called child class. Okay. Now, when you create an object of class A, we can access the variables and methods from the class A itself. When I create an object of class B, I can access variables and methods from the class B as well as class A. Why? Because B is already extended everything from A. Suppose in A, I created one variable called X. Now B already extended that. So B is also contains X. Suppose in A, I created one method called M1. So B is already extended A. So B is also having M1 method. So when I create an object of B, I can access everything from B plus A. But when I create an object of A, I can access only variables method from A class. This concept is called inheritance. Acquiring all the properties from parent class to child class is called inheritance concept. It is simply a parent and child relationship. It will follow parent and child relationship. So in the parent and child relationship, for example, parents are having some properties. Okay, some properties parent is having. So after the parent, automatically it will come to the child. So same properties belongs to the child or not? Yes. So this type of concept is called inheritance. Whatever the variables and methods which are created in the parent class, after extending into child class, the same variables and methods also belongs to child class. So this is a concept of inheritance. Acquiring all the properties and behavior from one class to another class is called inheritance. What is an advantage? Why we can do like this? There are two main objectives, the two main benefits for this. One is reusability. Second one is we can avoid the duplication. The first main objective of inheritance is we can achieve the reusability. Reusability we can achieve. The second usage is we can avoid duplication. Reusability, we can achieve the reusability and we can avoid the duplication. So for example, how can we achieve the reusability and how can we achieve the duplication? See, for example, we already created one method, some variables and some methods in the parent class. Let's say this is a parent class. So we can, once you extend this parent class in any other class, we will automatically get variables and methods into child class. So we no need to again create these two variables and methods again in the child class. Once we created, we can reuse multiple times. We can extend those variables methods into any other classes. So we creating one time, but using multiple times. That's called reusability. And we can avoid the duplication. So same variables methods, no need to create in every class. So once somebody has got created, we can reuse them or we can again get them into another class. So duplication we can avoid. So we can achieve the reusability, we can avoid the duplication. So this is the main objective. These are the main objectives of using inheritance concept. Now, let me show you one scenario in the real time, how we will get advantage of inheritance. So what is the benefit you are getting in respect to time and also effort. So let me take one simple scenario so that you can understand this. Simple analysis. Let us say there is a banking application. Okay, so there is a banking application. There are multiple modules are there. And in the banking application, let's say there is one module called personal loan module, and there is another module called home loan module. So there are two different features which are there in the banking application. There are two modules, personal loan module, home loan is another module. These are the two different modules in the same kind of application. Okay. Now, if I look at this, I'm taking this one first. Personal loan is one module. Home loan is another module. So two different modules. Okay. So to develop this personal loan module or this particular area or this particular module or application, let us say developers created, let's say 10 different classes. Okay. For developing the entire loan module, let us assume the developers are created 10 different classes. Okay. 10 different classes are needed. And let us assume each class is taking 1 hour of time. So how much time they taken is almost 10 hours. Let us assume this scenario. So to develop the entire personal loan module, they have created 10 different classes, and each class assume it can take 1 hour, and hardly 10 hours time they have spent to design 10 different classes. They have spent 10 hours of time to personal loan module. Okay. Now, 10 classes, they have taken 10 hours of time. Here, home loan module, again, they have 20 classes they have created. In home loan module, to develop this home loan module, 20 classes they have created. Almost 20 hours of time they have taken. Okay, 20 classes are required to design home loan module, and 20 hours they have time they have spent. This is the normal scenario without using inheritance. There is no inheritance. Personal loan module is totally different. Home loan module is totally different. In the personal loan, 10 classes are created, 10 hours of time they have taken. In home loan module, 20 classes are created, 20 hours of time they have taken. Okay, just observe this scenario. This is without inheritance. Now I'm taking inheritance. If I use inheritance, let's say this is again personal loan, and this is a home loan module. So in inheritance, what we need to do is, there are two modules, right? So we have to identify the common classes, because both are related to loan related modules. Definitely there should be some common thing will be there, or common things will be there. So we will identify what are common things are there in the personal loan and home loan module. And there will be some common classes also there. Definitely there will be some common classes. So what we will do, we will identify some common classes between these two modules. Let us say we have identified 5 classes which are commonly there in personal loan and home loan. So what you will do is, we will create another class called loan, and then we have created 5 different classes separately. These are the 5 different classes separately we created. Now, while implementing this personal loan module, 5 classes we already created separately, and those 5 classes we will extend, and another 5 classes we will create here. 5 classes already we created. So additionally, how many classes we create here? Just only 5 classes. 5 plus 5, 10 classes. So how much time here it is taking? Only 5 hours of time. Only 5 hours of time, because 5 classes earlier we already created, we're just acquiring here. So only 5 hours of time it is taken to develop the personal loan module. Come to home loan module. Total how many classes are required here? 20 classes are required, but 5 classes are already there. So we are just reusing it. So when I get these 5 classes, rest of only 15 classes we will create. So how much time we create here? Only 15 hours of time we will spend. So here it is reducing 5 hours of time. Here it is reducing another 5 hours of time. Total 10 hours of time it is got reduced when I use inheritance concept. Okay, in other way, we can see here 5 plus 5, how much time it is taken? 10 hours. Here 20 hours. Total time is what? 10 plus 20, 30 hours of time it is taken to develop both the modules. Without inheritance, 30 hours. And with inheritance, how much time it is taken? Let us assume these 5 classes we developed in 5 hours. Let's say this is taken 5 hours. Here it is taking 5 hours, 5 plus 5, 10. Here it is taking 15 hours, totally 25 hours. That means time is got reduced or not? Yes. So this is the main advantage of reusability. So once you created, we can reuse in multiple times. Yes. So the parent class, whichever we created, which is having most of the times common methods and common variables. Okay, common methods. And sometimes you may not see any common. That also fine. So parent and class. Suppose in the class, in the child class, I want to create some variables and methods, but they're already created somewhere else, some other class. If already created in some other class, you no need to create again. We just extend the class into child class, you will get them automatically. Okay. So that is also another scenario. So this is a main advantage of using inheritance concept in Java. We can achieve reusability and we can avoid duplication of creating variables and methods. Somebody has created something, we are able to reuse it multiple times. So that is the main purpose of using inheritance concept. Okay, in the programming, throughout the programming, this concept will follow. So we have to make sure the duplication should not be there. And we should able to achieve reusability at the same time. So these two things will be satisfied by inheritance concept. So somebody has created something, we should able to reuse it. Same concept is applicable in automation also. In automation, somebody has created some utility file. Okay, and we will reuse the same utility file in all other projects and all other frameworks. We don't create same thing in every project, in every framework. So there exactly the inheritance come into picture. So once you created something, we should be able to reuse it. That we can achieve only through inheritance concept. Okay. Now, so let us see what are the different types of inheritances are there. There are mainly 4 types of inheritances are there. Let me keep it here. 4 types of inheritances. The first is single inheritance. Second is multi-level inheritance. Third is hierarchy inheritance. Fourth one is multiple inheritance. These are the 4 types. Single, multi-level, hierarchy, multiple. Single inheritance, multi-level inheritance, hierarchy inheritance, and multiple inheritance. 4 types of inheritances. Let us see what are those types of inheritance. Single inheritance. Single inheritance means what? There is only one parent, one child. There is only one parent, one child. This is called single inheritance. There is only one parent, one child, which is called single inheritance. Multi-level means one parent can have another child. This is having another child. This is having another child. So this is called multi-level inheritance. Okay, this is called multi-levels. That means what? This class extending to another class. Again, this class extending to another class. This is class, another extend to another class. So multiple levels we can create. This is multi-level inheritance. Hierarchy inheritance. One parent can have multiple childs. Okay, one parent class can acquire into class 1, class 2, class 3, 3 childs for one single parent class. This is called hierarchy inheritance. Hierarchy inheritance. And then multi-level inheritance, multiple inheritance. Multiple means what? There are multiple parents having single child class. This is called multiple inheritance. Okay, so these are the 4 types of inheritance. Single, one parent, only one child. Multi-level, parent to child, again child to another child to another child. So for this particular class, this is the parent. For this particular class, this is the parent. For this particular class, this is the parent. So like this, we can write multiple levels. Hierarchy means only one parent can have multiple child classes. In multiple inheritance, there are multiple parents are having single child class. So these are the 4 types of inheritances which we have. Now let us try to implement this practically. Single, multi-level, hierarchy, multiple. Clear. Now go back to Eclipse. So let us see how to achieve the inheritance concept. And we'll see all types of inheritances with one example. Let's take a new class. And here I will name it as inheritance types. Here also I'm taking main method. Directly main method also there in the same class. Okay, let's keep this main method, this main class separately because we are dealing with the classes. In inheritance, we can extend the classes. So the main class, this is a different class. Let's keep this class one side. Now here I will create one class, single inheritance, one parent, one child, right? In single inheritance, we have only one parent, one child. So let me create one class here, class A. This is one class. And in the class, I will create one variable. Let's say int A equal to 100. And I'm directly assigning the data into variable. Then I'm just trying to print the value of A. So here I'm just printing the value of A. This is the implementation of class A. And now one more thing you remember. In one file, in one Java file, there will be only one class which is having public access modifier. And all other classes should not have public access modifiers. Okay, remember this. If you make it as a public, this will give you an error, syntax error. So only one class, which is a main class, should have a public. And all other classes should not use public. Remember. So now this is one class which is created. Let us call it as a parent. Now I'll class another class B. And the B is also having their own variables. Let's say int B equal to 200 and void show. I'm just creating one more user defined method which will print B value. So now I have created two classes, class A and class B. And class A and B are totally different classes. So far, there is no relation between A and B. Both are totally two different classes. Now, what I want to do is, I want to make A is a parent, B is a child class. That means, whatever variables and methods are there in the class A, I want to get them into class B also. So, how can we get them? Class B should extends from class A. This is the keyword we have to use. Extends. Extends. Okay. Class B extends A. Then what will happen when you say extends A? Whatever variables and methods are belongs to class A, they are also belongs to class B. Yes. So only the main class, whatever the class is created, main class which is having public access modifier. Okay, others are normal classes. A simple thumb rule is for one Java file, there is a .java, right? This is one file, one single file, there will be only one public class. There will be only one public class. Okay. Now come back to this. So now I have created two classes, class A and class B. Now class B is extends class A. Now which one is a parent, which one is a child class here? A is a parent class, B is a child class. When I say extends A, B is acquired everything from A. So now tell me, how many variables are there in B? How many variables are there in the B class? Two variables. Okay, one is B, which is its own variable. The other one is comes from A. Similarly, how many methods are there in class B? How many methods are there? Two methods. One is its own method, which is a show method, and the other one is display method, which comes from class A. Okay. Now come to the main class. So objects we can create only in the main class in the main method, right? So we have to come to the main method. So now I'm creating an object of class B. So let's say B obj equal to new B. Now I created an object of class B. Now by using this object, what are all things we can access? we can access B, we can access the show along with, we can also access A and display. Everything from B as well as everything from A we can access. So let us try to access. I say BOBJ dot, you can see A and B both are showing A. So this will get the value of A. So let me try to print this. BOBJ dot A. We are able to access A, which is actually from what? Parent class. But we are accessing through child class object. Similarly, let us try to access B. This is actually come from B object. Now by using same BOBJ dot display and BOBJ dot show, right? So we are able to access everything just by creating the child class object. We are able to access everything because B is a child class which is acquired everything from class A. So now once you create an object of B class, we can acquire everything from B as well as we can access everything from A. But when you create an object of A, you can access only the A stuff. You cannot access B. You can access only A and display, nothing else. But when you create an object of class B, you will get or you will access everything from B as well as A. So this is called single inheritance. So now when I run this as Java application, so you will get the output. So here these two statements directly printed 100 and 200. And these are the two methods which are got printed here. Okay. So this is how we can do this. This is called single inheritance. Single inheritance. Now, let's go to the next one. Multi-level inheritance. So what is multi-level? Multi-level also includes a single inheritance. The combination of multiple single inheritances comes under multi-level. See here, this is one class, this is another class. So this is single. If we just add one more class, this becomes a multi-level. And this is here, it is a single inheritance. Here it is a single inheritance again. One parent, one child. And here one parent, one child. So if you keep adding multiple classes, multiple levels, this becomes multi-level inheritance. Okay, now let us try to implement multi-level inheritance. So now what I'll do is I will create another class. We created A, B, and now I'm creating another class called C. Class C. And now C extends B. C is extends B. Okay, now once you C is extends B, C is a child class of B, B is a parent class of C. Now C is contains their own variables. Let's create some variable in C. Int C equal to 300. And now I'm also creating one method called print, user defined method. And inside this, I'm just printing the value of C. So now this is C implementation. C is already extended from B. Now tell me how many variables are there in C? How many variables are there in C class? 1, 2, or 3? 3 variables. Okay, one is C, which is its own variable, and other is B, which is comes from B class, and B is already having A, right? B is already extended A. So that also we will get. So C is equal to means what? A plus B. B is already acquired A. So B contains everything from A. So when I extend B into C, C get everything from B as well as A. Okay, this is called multi-level. You can consider C is a grandchild of B. Sorry, grandchild of A and child of B. Right. So this is C. So now we have 3 levels, A to B and B to C. This is multi-level inheritance. Now come to the main class. And here I will create an object of C class this time. Comment this. And now I'm creating an object of C class. C obj equal to new C. Now I created an object of C class. So what are all things I can access? All 3 variables, all 3 methods I can access with this object. So now we can say C obj dot C ABC. All 3 variables I can access. Also, I can access all the methods. Now, what I will do is, instead of assigning this data directly, I will assign through the object. Let me remove these values for now. Int b, int, at the time of accessing the variables, I will assign the data. Okay. Now here, creator C object. Now, can we access the variables from COBJ dot ABC? I'm able to access, but currently there are no values in ABC. Can I assign the data into these variables? Can I assign the data into variables? Yes. So let me take variable, and here I'm assigning the data. Okay, instead of hard coding data in the class, here I'm assigning COBJ dot B. This is actually come from B class, but still we are able to access 200. COBJ dot C. This is coming from C class. Here I'm saying 300. Now I have assigned the data into the variables. That means by using C class object, I'm able to access all three variables. One is come from C, one is come from C, one is comes from B, one is comes from A. Same thing, we will also able to access all the methods from C class. COBJ dot. What's the first method? Display. COBJ dot show. COBJ dot print. Okay, so the first method actually comes from A class, second method comes from B class, third method comes from C class. But still we are able to access everything from C class object. We no need to create an object of B as well as A. We directly created an object of class C and we are able to access it. So when I run this, you will able to get the value. So whatever data we have assigned here, these methods will display the same data. This is called multi-level inheritance. Means A to B, B to C. You can add any number of classes like this in multiple levels. Okay. So there are two inheritances so far we have seen. Single and multi-level. Single means what? One parent, one child. Multi-level means multiple child classes like this. A to B, B to C, C to D, like this. You can increase number of classes. This is called multi-level. Now the third type of inheritance is hierarchy inheritance. Hierarchy means what? One parent can have multiple childs. This is called hierarchy inheritance. One parent can have multiple child classes. Okay. So let me create another example for hierarchy inheritance. I'm taking new class. I'll name it as hierarchy inheritance. And also I'm taking main method, say finish. Okay. So this is the main class. So let's keep this class one side. Now let us try to implement hierarchy inheritance. In hierarchy inheritance, there is only one parent can have multiple child classes. One parent can have a multiple child classes. So here I'm just giving some name called parent. Class name itself I'm giving as a parent. See, when I say class A, can we create class A like this? Class A. So whatever names we already used in the previous example, we should not repeat this. Okay, so in inheritance times, we already created class A, right? So same class we cannot create again. Even though it is a different file, we should not accept because all of them is part of one single package, right? So once you created a class A here, we already created A. We already used this class name. So again, you should not use same name here. Okay, remember this. It will give you an error also. See here. What is an error it is giving? The type A is already defined. Where we have defined this? In another file. Inheritance types, we already used these names, right? So we should not use. So entire package, the class names should be different. Same class name we cannot reuse again and again. Even though it is a different file, we should not reuse. Okay. So that's the reason we cannot use same ABC. So we should give some different names here. Okay. And I'm trying to give a parent. Directly, I'm calling it as a parent. Class name itself is a parent. Now in this parent class, I will create one user defined method. Observe carefully. Void display. And this time I will also take one parameter. So let's say I'm taking one parameter, integer parameter I'm getting. And here I will just print the value of A. So this is the method which is implemented in the parent class. Display, which will take one single parameter, integer parameter, and then it will print the value of that parameter directly. I'm not defining any variables. I'm just defining only method. If you want, you can create variables also, no problem. This is one parent class. Now, in hierarchy inheritance, there is only one parent can have multiple childs. Now, what I will do is I will create another class. Let's call it as a child1, which extends from parent class. This is one child. Now I'll create another child, class child2, which extends from same parent. Parents should be same. Right? Now child1 and child2 both are extended from same parent class. Now let us implement child1. So child1, I will create one more method called show. And this will also take one parameter B, and then I'm trying to print this value called B. Implemented. Now child2 also I'll implement. Here I will create one more method, void print, and it will also take one more parameter. And here I'm just trying to print C. This is hierarchy inheritance. One parent, there are two childs. Okay, now you tell me, in the child1 class, how many methods are there? In the child1 class, how many methods are there and what are they? In the child1, there are two methods. One is its own method called show. Other method come from parent, which is a display. Now child1 contains two methods. One is a show, other one is a display. Now come to the child2. Child2 is also having two methods. One is its own method called print. Other method come from parent. What is that? Display. So what is the common method in the child1 and child2? What is the common method in the child1 and child2? Display is a common method, which will come from same parent class. Okay, this is implementation of hierarchy inheritance. One parent can have multiple childs, but the childs are not related. The child1 is totally different than child2. There is no relation between child1 and child2. But still, both classes are derived from the same parent class. Okay. Now, this is hierarchy. Now come to the main method. So now I'm creating an object of child1. Child1, C1 equal to new child1. So now I created an object of child1. So by using this object, C1, what are all method I can access? Show and display. So these are the two methods I can access. So C1 dot show. So when I call this method, we have to pass parameters because show method is also expecting one integer parameter. So I'm just passing it. Okay, first let's call display method. C1 dot display. This is actually comes from parent. So I'm passing 100. C1 dot show. This will actually come from child1 itself. So here I'm passing 200. Only two methods we can access by creating an object of C1. So we got 100 and 200. Whatever values we are passing into these methods, so it is received here and then printed those values. Same thing if I create an object of child2. C2 equal to new child2. So now I created an object of child2 class. So by using this object, we can access display, which is come from parent. Here I'm passing 500, or you can pass 1000, and C2 dot print. This is actually belongs to child2 class. Here I'm passing 2000. So the parent class method we can access from child1 object as well as child2 object, because both the childs are derived from same parent class. Okay, so this is how we can implement hierarchy inheritance. Hierarchy means what? One parent can have multiple child classes. So now if you summarize, Single inheritance means one parent, one child. Multi-level means we can have multiple levels like this. Parent to child, another child like this. Hierarchy means one parent, multiple childs. You can have n number of childs. These are the three types of inheritances. And one more type of inheritances, which is multiple inheritance. Multiple is exactly opposite of this hierarchy inheritance. Means here two parents, single child. Two or more parents, you can have more parent, but single child. But in hierarchy inheritance, one parent, multiple childs. Here, multiple parents, single child. This is called multiple inheritance. Multiple is different, multi-level is different. This is multi-level. Different levels are there. Each class is having only one single parent. Here, this class, this is the only parent. For this class, this is only one parent. For this class, this is only one parent. If you take any class in these levels, that is having only one parent class. But in multiple, there are multiple parents for one single child class. This is called multiple inheritance. Okay, but this multiple inheritance, we cannot implement using class. Class concept is not supported in multiple inheritance. Single inheritance, multi-level inheritance, hierarchy inheritance, we can implement using a class concept. Everything is a class. But in multiple inheritance, we cannot implement using a class concept. We can implement multiple inheritance using interface concept. There is another concept called interface. That is an alternative of class. So by using interface concept, we can achieve multiple inheritance. Class concept doesn't support multiple inheritance. Okay. So interface concept we will discuss in the next sessions. But now we need to understand why multiple inheritance is not supported using class. Very, very important, very popular question in interview. Many people will know class doesn't support multiple inheritance. But very less number of people will know why it is not supported. Why class concept is not supported multiple inheritance. Okay. So I will tell you the reason for this. Listen this very carefully. Focus on this. Little tricky stuff, but you can focus and understand why class is not supported multiple inheritance. Multiple means what? One parent can have, multiple parents can have a single child. Remember, let's say these are the two parents having single child. This is called multiple inheritance. So which is not supported using class. Why? We will see that. Let us say I have one class here. This is one class. This is another class. And this is the child class. Okay. And C1, C2, C3. When you say C3 is a child class, C1 is a parent. Again, C3 is child, C2 is a parent. So parent to child, we use extends here. And here also we use extends. How many extends we required here? Two extends. C3 extends C1 and C2, right? Both we need to extend. So how to write the statement? Class C3 extends C1, comma, C2. We have to write like this. Statement, if you want to write, you have to write like this. Because we want to extend two classes into one single child. But extends keyword support only one class. Multiple classes not support. Okay, extends keyword will support only one class. Multiple classes will not be supported. This is one reason. So class C3 extends C1, comma, C2. So two classes are not supported. At a time, only one class we can extend into child class. Multiple classes we cannot extend. Again, one more question. Why we cannot extend multiple classes? So the reason is, again, this is related to, again, concept. This is a C1 and this is a C2 and this is a C3, which is a child class of both the parents. Now observe why multiple inheritance is not supported using class. Let us assume in the C1 class, I have one method called M1. In the C2 also, I have another method. I have method called M1, same method. We can have, right? In two classes, there may be methods which are having same name. Possibilities there or not? These two are not connected. C1, C2 are not connected. Both are two different classes. So C1 is having M1. C2 is also having M1. Is there any possibility there or not? Yes, we can have. Let us say C1 is developed by someone else, C2 is developed by someone else. So he is created M1 method in the C1 and another guy is created M1 method in the C2 class. Possibilities there. Now, when you extend these two classes into one single child class, here, what will happen? Which method will acquire? M1 from C1 or M1 from C2? Which one? So here, ambiguity issue comes. This is a problem. When you do multiple inheritance, when extending two classes into one single child class, if there are any duplicates, definitely there is an ambiguity problem will come. Means it doesn't know which method we have to acquire. M1 from C1 class or M1 from C2 class, which one we need to acquire into child class, right? There is a conflict, ambiguity issue comes. That is the reason extends keyword doesn't support two classes. Only one class at a time we can extend. If we have a duplicate methods M1 and M1, we cannot extend. So there is an ambiguity problem. So that's the reason multiple inheritance is not supported by using extends keyword. Now you will get one question here. If we have a duplicate methods, then the problem comes. But if you don't have a duplicate methods, it should work, right? We have M1 in C1, M2 in C2. So M1 from C1, it will come, M2 from C2, it will come. So after extending, M1 and M2 will belongs to C3. So if you don't have any duplicates, we should not have any problem, right? But still there is a problem. Even though we don't have a duplicate methods, you have not created duplicate methods, but still these classes are having some duplicate methods. How come it is possible? If you create a new class, until unless you write a method, the class doesn't have any method, right? You have to create your own method. But how come a class contains the methods without creating anything? So here I created M1 method. Here I created M2 method. Still what I'm saying, still both the classes are having some duplicate methods. Even though if you are not created, still those classes are having duplicate methods. How it is possible? In Java, whenever you create a new class, by default, the class extends from object class. Object is a root class of all the classes in Java. Okay, object class is a root class or parent class of all the classes in Java. Okay, so whenever you create a new class, even though you have not extended this from any other classes, still this class is by default acquire everything from object class. Same thing. C2 also, even though the C2 is not extended from any other classes, still by default this is extended from object class. So this is the default class which is there in Java, which is a parent of every class which you created. You no need to write C1 extend object, C2 extend object. You no need to write. By default, every class, whenever you create a class, even though it is an empty class, nothing is there, but still this class is extended from object class by default. So whatever methods are there in the object class, whatever variables are there in the object class, they will automatically comes into C1 or not? Yes. There also comes into C2 or not? Yes. In that case, is there any possibility to have duplicates in C1 and C2? Definitely, right? So whatever methods are there in the object, let's say M1 and M2, these methods also belongs to C1. These methods also belongs to C2. Definitely there is a common methods available, duplicate methods available. And that also we cannot extend. So even though you have not written duplicate methods, still the classes are having duplicate methods. Because of that, we cannot extend multiple classes. When you're trying to extend multiple classes into one single class, ambiguity problem comes. Ambiguity problem is both are same methods, but which method we have to get into child class? It will be confused. That will cause the ambiguity problem. So that is the reason multiple inheritance is not supported using class concept. We can extend only one class at a time. You cannot extend multiple classes. Okay, I will show you simple example. You will understand. Just observe how the class will by default extend from the object class. Say, let's take a simple test class. And here, taking main method, just observe. Okay, I'm creating one simple class here. Okay, class some x. Okay, class some x. Did I write any methods or variables in the class x? Nothing. Class x doesn't have anything. No methods, no variables. Now come to the main method. I will create an object of class x, x obj equal to new x. I created an object of x class. Now observe very carefully. When I use this object variable dot, see here, these are all methods we are getting. From where we are getting these methods? Equals, get class, hash code, notify, notify all, toString, wait. We are getting all these methods populated from this object. But these methods are not created in X class, right? We have not created. But still we are getting these methods. From where we are getting them? Object class. You can see that clearly. It's clearly showing also. The class name also it is showing. So all these methods are coming from what? Object class. So even though we have not created any methods in this class X, this contains some default methods which are coming from object class, which is a parent class of every class which we created. Okay. Suppose, observe very carefully. Now I'm creating another class, class Y. And in this also I'm not adding anything. So let's create an object of Y. Y. Let's call it as a X obj. Call it as a Y obj. New Y. Okay. Now if I look at here, in X obj, what are all methods are there? Equals, get class, hash code, notify. These methods are coming from object class by default. Now if I look at this, even if you see Y obj dot, you can see same methods. Same methods from the same class, object class. So what we need to understand here is, as soon as you created a new class, even though if you have not created anything in this class, still the class contains a certain number of methods, some default methods. And those methods are coming from what? Object class, which is parent of every class in Java, which is a parent of every class. As soon as you created a class, immediately that will extend from. So that is the reason every class is having some duplicate methods. And definitely the duplicate methods will be there, even though if you are not created. So that is the reason multiple inheritance is not possible. In a multiple inheritance, ambiguity problem comes. So C1 and C2 and C3, when you extend, whatever duplicate here it is there, same duplicate, we cannot extend. So that's the reason extends keyword doesn't support two classes at a time. Only one class it will support. So is this clear, everyone? Please confirm in the chat box. There are multiple questions you will get here. Why multiple inheritance is not supported in Java using class concept? Many people will know it is not supported, but why it is not supported? You have to understand this. Okay, why multiple inheritance is not supported using Java? Because the classes are having duplicate methods. Whenever the classes are having duplicate methods, we cannot get them into child class because we will get an ambiguity problem. Means what? Which method you want to get into child class? It will confuse. So that's the reason ambiguity problem comes. Even though you have not created any duplicate methods, still ambiguity problem exists because every class is having some default methods which are duplicated, which are comes from object class. Object is a parent class of every class. by default. You don't need to write extend or anything. Okay, this is a reason for that. So multiple inheritance we can achieve by using interface concept. Interface is another topic which is there in Java, which is an alternative of the class. So if you create this C1 and C2 as an interfaces, this is an interface, C1 is also an interface. Then we can extend them into C3. We cannot extend actually, we can implement. Instead of extends, we use implements. So if these two parents are interfaces, then we can get them into one single class. In that way, we can achieve multiple inheritance. Using interfaces concept, we can achieve it. But class concept, if you create these two are the classes, we cannot. If you create these two are the interfaces, then we can get them into child class. We can achieve multiple inheritance. Okay. So in the next class, we will discuss more about interface, which is most important topic. And once you understand what is interface, how to create an interface, what is the difference between class and interface. So once you understand all these concepts, then finally we will see how can we achieve this multiple inheritance using interface concept. Okay, so in tomorrow's session, we will discuss that. So child should be always a class, not an interface. Okay. Sometimes the child also can be interface. Okay, we can create multiple interfaces also. We can implement all types of types like single, okay, multi-level, and like hierarchy and multiple. Everything we can achieve by using interface concept also. So tomorrow's session, you will understand what is the difference between extend and implement. Extend means what? Suppose we already there some variables and methods here. So B is an extension of A actually, right? B is a followed by A. B is an extension of A. Why? Because B contains everything from A plus some other stuff. So this is the extension of A. That's the reason we have to use extends keyword here. Right? When you come to interface concept, in interface, we have variables, we have a methods, but we should not implement these methods in interface. We cannot implement those methods. Just we can create a method, but there is no implementation. We call them as abstract methods. So this interface we have to implement by using a class. So here implements keyword will come into picture. So interface can be implemented in the child class. A class can be extended into child class. That is a major difference. Extension is different, implementation is different. Extension means what? The methods variable already implemented. So we are just extending into another class. This is extension. But here in interface, methods are not implemented. They are abstract. So if you want to implement in the child class, we have to implement. So that's the reason interface can be implemented in the child class. So that is a major difference. So tomorrow's session, you will get more clarity on this. Okay, I will give you more examples. You will be able to understand this. For now, just understand only this much. Okay, so concept is clear. Today's concept, everyone. What is inheritance? What are the advantages of inheritance? What are the types of inheritance? Why multiple inheritance is not supported by using a class? Okay, these are the most important topics from inheritance. And in the tomorrow session, I will introduce you interface concept. What is interface? How to create? What is the difference between class and interface? So once you understand, once you see some examples on interface, then finally we will understand how we can implement multiple inheritance using interface concept. Class is not supported, but how can we implement using interface? So that we will see in the tomorrow session. Okay, so just practice this for today, and this much is enough for today. Tomorrow we will continue same inheritance concept. And inheritance, again, there are some more concepts are there along with interface. We also have something called overriding, method overriding. Earlier we discussed about overloading, but in inheritance we have another concept called overriding. And also we have something called super keyword, final keyword. We have to discuss some more keywords, and all these things are belongs to inheritance concept. So tomorrow session, we will continue that. Okay. So I'll stop here for today's session. Tomorrow we'll continue.